On August 18th, 1995, Mortal Kombat was released theatrically by New Line Cinema, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, not the director of Grand Budapest, that's Wes Anderson, and not Paul Thomas Anderson, he did Boogie Nights. I'm talking about the director of the Resident Evil franchise, Paul W.S. Anderson.
It's the final chapter I had to deliver. I wasn't going to get another chance. I had to squeeze it all in.
I know, it gets a little bit confusing. It was one of the first video game adaptations, with only Double Dragon and Street Fighter being released the year before, and Super Mario Bros. The year before that.
Okay, what's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
All of which weren't exactly met with much enthusiasm. When the movie was first released, it was met with mixed reception. It's now regarded as a cult classic. And with the reboot coming out on April 16th in the US, I thought it'd be a good idea to dive back into this film. So join us as we take a look back at Mortal Kombat. Hey everyone, I'm Jacob from Film Reel, and I'm joined today by Justin from Film Reel. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here too. Did you see this movie when it first came out?
I might have seen clips here and there and like Googled stuff. Like one thing I know I Googled before, I saw like that one scene with Johnny Cage and like Scorpion's fight in the forest, but that's probably like the only thing I've actually ever Googled and watched. So like just recently, this has been like my first experience watching it and kind of like taking in everything.
Oh wow, I thought you had seen it in full before.
No, so I actually saw it with like fresh eyes.
Modern, cynical eyes.
Once the movie like, you know, starts and you hear like the Mortal Kombat theme, it's crazy how like that actually really pumped me up for like for never seeing this movie before. As soon as the music hits and like once the intro starts, I was getting pumped up. I was getting like super excited, and it's like this movie wants you to know you're watching Mortal Kombat.
It really does. It's so in your face. So to kind of give you guys a general plot outline for this movie, it's about this actor, Johnny Cage, a cop named Sonya Blade, and a Shaolin monk, Liu Kang, who are all duped into attending this fighting tournament arranged by an evil sorcerer named Shang Tsung, and they have to fight to protect Earth from an invasion, is kind of, I guess, how I describe the plot.
I mean, that's pretty much spot on.
Right?
I'd say so. That's pretty much it, honestly.
Let's talk about the characters. How do you feel about Johnny Cage?
Oh, man. So Johnny Cage was like really dumb, kind of. Like I felt like he was there. He was like the comedy source of the trio, you know? Like he provided a lot of like comedic relief, I thought. And he was so egotistical. Like he was so full of himself.
I thought the guy who played him, Lyndon Ashby, did a pretty good job.
Oh, totally.
He's silly, but I don't think he's as crazy as he was in some of the other games, as in your face.
No, yeah, he was like definitely, just compared to how I've seen him in games, I feel like he was maybe a little toned down, actually.
Yes.
But I think they did a really good job with the casting, because like when I saw him, I was like, that's Johnny Cage. Like I knew right away, like without a doubt.
Yeah, I have a clip here. In my notes, I just have a timestamp, and it just says "funny line." And I don't know.
That's so funny because there's so many he throws out, and I will say every like funny line he throws out is so cheesy. I was just like,
so
oh my
cheesy.
God,
It's 90s cheese.
Exactly.
Sonya, you go ahead. Find out what that was. Lou and I'll wait right here.
What an asshole.
I just think he's being such a wuss. And like that's the girl he's trying to like get with, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he wants to protect her, but I'm thinking like, dude, you're not gonna get the girl if you're gonna be like that.
Right.
I thought Sonya Blade was really good. I don't remember her being that tough, but it makes sense just because she's a female cop, and like I couldn't see her being hard like that. She's definitely very like relentless.
Mm-hmm. She's a badass, and at the beginning of the story, and she doesn't need no man to save her until she does.
Yeah. If anything, I'm disappointed in her partner Jax, because like when she was running off to the ship, he was like, Sonya, like, don't go. And like I was thinking like, dude, you didn't even run up to stop her, and like she's all the way, like she's X amount of feet away, and you're like using your inside voice. Like he didn't really try hard.
Yeah, they didn't really do much with Jax. He was just kind of there, and I don't know why.
I forget. Isn't Jax like, doesn't he have cybernetic arms or something?
He does. Or... I think he wasn't introduced until the second game. And that might be why, because this is mostly an adaptation of the first game, so maybe they were setting him up.
I see. So maybe he hadn't had like that traumatic accident or whatever then.
Yeah, I think Ermac destroys his arms or something.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think about Liu Kang?
I liked Liu Kang. I actually thought the casting choice, like the guy, pretty much like for what I can imagine, he looks like Liu Kang to me.
Right.
I don't really know what to expect for a voice, but if they used his voice in the game, like I wouldn't complain about it. I thought the guy did a good job. I don't know Liu Kang as a man of many words.
Yeah, he's kind of the stoic protagonist.
Like as far as the trio goes, like Sonya, Liu Kang, and Johnny, I liked how they kind of like introduced the characters. Like you got like each little snippet.
Yeah, it was brief but like efficient setup for all of them.
Yeah, like even if you've never really known anything, like if you haven't really been exposed to Mortal Kombat before, I still feel like it gives you like the gist, like you understand like their background, and like these people are like not connected to each other at all. But like, you know, you have Shang Tsung kind of like orchestrating this and baiting people and kind of like pulling in the best fighters to get them all in one spot.
Yeah.
But I definitely say, I think as far as like casting goes, they all look the part. Like, no doubt in my mind, I can't say like, oh, they totally messed this up. Like, you know, like they have the right ethnicity, I think, playing each character, and like each person, like costume wise too. I thought they looked really good. Yeah. And I don't have any complaints. I will say, if anything, I thought a questionable casting choice was actually Raiden.
Okay, so I was going to talk about Raiden. Well, before Raiden, I was going to say, I think the casting choices are brilliant. I think they really embody all the characters. That being said, they're not super fleshed out. They're all kind of these like one-note personality traits with super basic motives that Raiden actually like spells out later in the film.
What you're about to face is vastly more important than your ego, your enemy, or your quest for revenge. You have embarked on a sacred mission.
I actually thought he did a good job at like kind of like pointing them out and stuff, but like, did you see his face as he's saying that stuff? I feel like I can't take him seriously, and he's like trying to like be super serious. There's something wrong with his mouth, I think.
I wanted to talk about him, and when he first appears, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Raiden's fucking weird in this movie. But I will admit, I gotta admit, the longer I watch this movie, the more I really liked him as Raiden, just because he seems like he's having really a lot of fun.
One of you three will decide the outcome of the tournament. The fate of billions will depend upon you. Sorry.
I feel like that was just improvised. Like, why would that be in the script? It's so fucking weird.
You know, it's funny. In my notes, as soon as he laughed, I paused it and I put WTF Raiden. And I put why, because I didn't understand that. You know, honestly,
me neither.
I don't think he like knew anything about Mortal Kombat.
Oh hell no, he didn't know a goddamn thing.
He had no idea what he was like auditioning for. Maybe they just threw the role at him and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna wing it. I think I could do this.
I'm sure that's what happens, and it happened. And it actually, it's interesting how it can turn out, because I forget the actor's name, but the one who plays Dumbledore in Harry Potter, the second Dumbledore after the first one died, he did not read a single book.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and yet somehow he's just still embodied the character really well. And then you have
he did
this.
A great job. Yeah, you know, he picked up like perfectly, but yeah, this was just interesting. I will say too, like watching this clip right now, and he's talking about the fate of the world, like like billions of lives depend on them. He said that like with an open mouth smile.
Yeah.
Like he had no seriousness at all. Like I think the actor was having a lot of fun. The more like I can agree with you, the more I watched it, the more I was like I never really had an issue with him being Raiden. I was just like, this is a questionable casting choice.
Right.
But watching it more, I was like, all right, like I could see him. He's Raiden.
Let's dance.
Sorry.
Dude, that laugh is hilarious. I feel like Raiden's the kind of person that never laughs.
Right. He's even more stoic than Liu Kang. Like, neither of them
show
laugh,
emotion.
but especially not Raiden. He's a god. Gods don't laugh.
No, yeah. Maybe that's why like Raiden started to grow on me more, because when he'd do stuff like that, I'd laugh and be like, this guy's a fool.
Yeah.
Like, why is he doing this stuff? This makes him seem more like relatable in a sense. It definitely makes him more of a character than like an omniscient being or something.
Right. We can't talk about Raiden and not talk about Shang Tsung, played by Cary Tagawa. I think he's perfect. And right off the bat, the movie tells you that he's just a vile person. Like, the movie starts off with Johnny Tsunami's grandpa breaking a child's spine.
No, dude, that pretty much hooked me into the movie because I hadn't seen it before, but I was just like, oh my God, this is intense. Like, it's already starting off with a fight. And that's kind of like what I'd expect more. That's how I'd expect Mortal Kombat to start. Like, there's going to be some like crazy battle, or like someone's going to get wrecked, you know, like someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this casting was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, we're only a minute, not even 2 minutes into the film, and I saw this and I was like, he's like Shang Tsung. Like, I had no questions about it. I thought the pick was perfect because, like, you know, he's an intimidating dude, and you look at this guy, he looks evil as hell. Like, he doesn't look like a nice dude. Completely opposite sides of the spectrum. Yeah. I remember Johnny Tsunami's grandpa being awesome, and now like you just have this evil dude breaking kids' backs.
Yeah. He steals every scene he's in. He's really a snake. He's fantastic. So much so that they're using his likeness, or they used his likeness in the most recent game, MK11. They scanned the actor's face from this movie and put him in the game. He also voiced the character as well.
Oh, wow. No, he definitely left like a lasting impact then, you know, because they could have totally like redone the character or like used like another model or something. Yeah, there's a lot of characters that they managed to cram into this film. Kano is another one. I think he's great. Yeah, I thought they did a good job with him. Yeah, Kano's the mercenary that Sonya Blade's after, and he's secretly working for Shang Tsung, and he gets her to go to the tournament. He baits her onto the boat to get her to go to the tournament, and he's played by Trevor Goddard, and he's another one who really seems like he's hamming it up. He's like being so over the top, but he's having a good time. Yeah, he played a very convincing like Kano to me, like, you know, because Kano's like a criminal syndicate like bad guy, you know, like he's like essentially a mob boss, and like watching him, like I was just like, damn, this guy's a slob and he's a jerk. Yeah, messing up people's day and like ruining everything. Right. The co-creator of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, he really liked his portrayal. In the games, they actually retconned his backstory to make him Australian, like the actor played him in the film. He wasn't always Australian. Wow. No, I think he was Asian in the original That's
game.
Absolutely crazy. I did not know that. That's actually really cool.
The scene where he's introduced, it looks kind of cool in the shadows, you know, here. But then, like, the longer you look at it, and especially in the daylight, it looks bad. The more it just looks like a piece of plastic they glued to his face, which I'm sure is what they used. It didn't look that good. Like, this is specifically right here. I think this is when it looks its best. You can't really see it. Yeah. Now over here, see, I noticed they use the other side of his face for these cuts. They must have done that on purpose, angles. Right? right, because when they full on show it in the daylight, it's super plastic looking. It doesn't look metal. It doesn't look like it's underneath his skin. It looks like it's just taped on top. Yeah, the power of angles, man. But yeah, he plays him really well. He's super gross.
Yeah, I thought he was an absolute pig, man. I was like, this dude's filthy.
And then he explodes. I could see his guts and everything.
That scene is so hard for me to watch because I have misophonia and I hate the sound of people eating. I'm sure I've told you.
Yeah, no, you have.
It's so gross.
Dude, he's just nasty, man. The way he's like handling the chicken and like he just made this scene like disgusting. Like I wouldn't want to eat with him.
No, hell no. It's so gross. It reminds me of that scene in Lord of the Rings with Denethor where he's eating while he's being sung to. God.
Why is it so grotesque?
But yeah, he plays them really well.
Like 10 out of 10, dude. Like perfect pick for Kano. And it really does like mean a lot, like especially if Ed Boon changed the character after seeing this performance. There's
actually an homage to this scene in Mortal Kombat 11 in the crypt. You can go into Goro's lair and the dinner table's actually there. And it looks just like in the movie. It's full of food and everything. And in that chair is Kano's skeleton.
Oh, that's so cool.
I don't know if you know, but they actually released a skin pack of the characters from the movie using their likeness and their voice. So Johnny Cage, Raiden, and Sonya have a skin with the actors' faces on them and providing their voice. I actually bought it last night and I was playing it.
That's actually really cool. I didn't know that.
It's pretty cool. It's a really good recreation of them. And it's really funny, especially playing as Raiden. Let's talk about Goro, who's in this scene. I want to know what you think about him being a giant puppet or a giant animatronic. Or just, do you think it was well executed?
You know what? I actually thought out of all the effects in this movie that like Goro's were some of the best. But I thought Goro looked great. Like, I mean, you could tell it's kind of like aged, but I think like he fits like specifically in this scene, I feel like he fits the background really well. Like, I feel like it looks right to me. Like it, I don't know. Sometimes you could like look at effects and you could tell like it looks really cheesy or like it's super old. But I think Goro held up really well, actually.
Yeah, I think it was beneficial to do a physical puppet / guy in a suit over CG because they really couldn't do CG well back then. There was a few films that did it right, like Jurassic Park. But as you see later in the film with Reptile, it wasn't all there yet. And so I think it's aged better that he's a puppet or an animatronic. And like, this is something that's physically there that you can touch. And he has a real presence to him. Like, look, he's fucking massive.
And like, look at that muscle definition too. Like, you could, like, the way the light is shining on him, it to me, I actually think it looks pretty realistic.
Yeah.
And like, kind of like talking, I know we'll probably get into it, but like Reptile, I think would have benefited a lot more if they had used probably like a puppet as well.
No, yeah, let's talk about Reptile.
I have a couple things to say about him.
He just kind of shows up, more fodder. Yeah, look at that CG.
It looks terrible.
It does look terrible.
This is actually better than when like they show him initially. God. There's a scene where he spits in Liu Kang's face, and I thought that looked really bad. Like,
yeah. The way the announcer just
that made me laugh too. You know, that's fan service. Like, there was no need.
Fan service.
Yeah, there's no need for that at all.
But there's a pretty cool effect where they show off SubZero's powers.
Oh yeah, I actually thought that looked really great.
And how do you feel about that one? I
don't really like that.
I like the idea kind of it coming out of his hand because it kind of makes sense in the game. I guess it's just a rope and he throws it, or a chain in later incarnations. I think it's okay when it comes out. You can see there's a little bit of a tracking. It doesn't track correctly, but then it opens its mouth.
I like the concept. If it wasn't like its own being, I think I would have liked it a lot more. I just don't understand why they had to bring it to life.
Yeah, that was an odd decision. I didn't like that.
And I don't know if that exists anywhere, like in the canon, or if that was just like an artistic choice.
I think that was their decision.
Yeah, like right there. It doesn't look right.
It's aged definitely. And I didn't see this when it first came out, but maybe people were in the theaters thinking it looked aged even back then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say, or who knows? Maybe they saw him and were like, whoa, that looks so good. Like, look at the blood and stuff. I will say at least they added blood.
The little bit of blood that there is, yes.
Yeah, there's not a lot, but I think, like, it does help.
It does help. That is an issue with the film. They went for the PG-13, which is not surprising back then.
With Mortal Kombat, I expected way more blood. I
Right.
would have, like, imagined walls being painted with it, and, like, when people are, like, snapped in half or, like, just like impaled, like you just see it gushing. So I think that's something they missed out on.
Where it's like the games are known for their over-the-top blood and gore and violence, and then the adaptation just disappoints in that way. They were able to get away with some stuff, but yeah, when you think of Mortal Kombat, you think of the fatalities and the blood. And there are fatalities, but they are very PG-13.
Yeah, they really are.
There's a scene later where Scorpion and Johnny Cage are in that other realm or location with all the scaffolding, and he slices Scorpion up, and I think like lava comes out.
It's lava, yeah,
but
that's not blood.
That is a clever way, I think. If they are gonna, if they are gonna do the PG-13 thing, they are clever with it in some ways, like that. It seemed gruesome without it containing actual blood. It's probably the most violent death, I think, in the whole movie. And then they get creative a little bit with like SubZero. You can get away with some of SubZero's fatalities in a PG-13 movie. You just freeze somebody and they shatter. That's not
into like a billion pieces. Yeah, no, I didn't think that was like, it's kind of like, oh dang, but like, it's not where it's like, it wasn't gruesome.
Right. They really were able to get away with it in that SubZero scene where he fights the greasy boys, when they put on you know what scene I'm talking about? The guys all greased up, the muscle dudes.
Yeah, no, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's so greasy.
They're coming, the posse. Yeah, he's looking like a badass, like he's like doing all these moves and kind of like, I was wondering, like, is he warming up? He should be like using those punches on Sub-Zero, not showing them off. It almost looks silly, but like I do think like I wouldn't want to fight him.
PG-13.
Totally. Like that effect, it actually holds up really well.
Yeah,
like I thought it looked good.
That scene really reminded me of the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's get into the fights since we're kind of looking at them. There's a lot of fights in this movie. In the middle of the film is when they all start happening one after the other. There's like 6 fight scenes in the middle of the movie.
There's a lot. I'm not an expert when it comes to like movie fights and stuff, but I actually thought they all looked pretty authentic. I actually genuinely liked the fights.
Yeah, so did I. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they were fun. Like I thought of this movie as like a roller coaster, man. Some of the fights were super fun, and then some were like, I think the one fight that I was a little disappointed in was the fight Goro had with that one guy.
Art?
Yeah.
Dude, poor Art, man. They didn't do anything with that guy.
No, he was did dirty. And I actually don't understand why everyone was so like, that might be a pacing issue, but like when he was like killed, everyone was like devastated. And I was just kind of like, we don't know anything about this guy. It was sad. It was sad for sure.
I wrote it in my notes too. I thought that was weird as well. Like they made such a big deal about Art's death and everything, and it is fucked up because Goro beat the shit out of him. But it's like, we don't know anything about him, and I was really curious because Art's an original character. He's not in the games, so I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah, why throw him in there?
I thought he was a rando.
Yeah, and so I read up on it a little bit. In the novelization of the movie, he had a much bigger part. So I feel like he filmed a lot more scenes that just didn't make it in. And that seems to be a recurring issue. I was also reading that the actor who plays Liu Kang, Robin Shu, was mentioning that there was supposed to be a romantic subplot with Kitana in the film. She's barely in it, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But they cut it out because they had so many fight scenes. They just didn't have room for it. So I feel like that's what happened to Art.
Probably. I did feel something between Liu Kang and Kitana. for them cutting a lot of that out, I at least was able to kind of interpret that like they were feeling each other in a way.
Some sort of connection.
But yeah, poor Art. He got destroyed by Goro. That was like the saddest fight in my opinion. And he was supposed to be like one of the best fighters in the world. Granted, I know he's fighting Goro, but still, I don't think he really had much to show for it. He got pummeled.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad fight, but it was like a little lackluster in my opinion. My favorite fight was between Liu Kang and Reptile. I thought that was just super fun. I thought they executed that fight really well. I actually like had to rewind some scenes because I just wanted to like see them again.
Yeah.
And I think my second favorite fight was actually between Johnny Cage and Scorpion when they were in like hell or that other realm.
That one is my favorite. I don't know where this is, but there's a bunch of like scaffolding everywhere and webs and stuff. And dude, look at that set. That is badass. That's a really well-made set.
The sets, they did an amazing job because like I don't think they like cheaped out or made anything look bad. I really liked the set design. They did a great job fleshing this world out.
Yeah.
I think it like adds a lot of authenticity to it.
And it's really cool just knowing that was handcrafted, that it wasn't a CGI back. It's not a green screen. That's all there.
That fight really stood out to me a lot.
It's super cool.
It's definitely one of the funnest fights.
Get down here!
That is a stupid line. That is dumb. I love this this callback to his friendship move in the games.
Oh yeah, dude, I didn't understand that. So I was.
Oh really?
That was actually something I wanted to ask you because I forgot about like the friendships and all that stuff.
They weren't in the original game, but they were in Mortal Kombat 2, which they took elements from here. And that was one of his moves there, where he autographs a photo of himself.
Okay, that makes sense to me because I was like, why is that there?
I can see how that's really weird if you don't know.
That threw me off because I was like, I thought that was so random, but it makes sense.
Something that I thought was funny is how does he get out of there? Where is he? And he just joins up with everyone later.
I didn't even think about that. I thought he transported him to like hell or what's that?
The Nether Realm. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
too.
that's what I wasn't sure. It must be somewhere on the island. Maybe he climbed the scaffolding out. It must be some sub level or something. I have no idea. Honestly,
yeah, maybe it is some like subterranean part of the island. It's never really explained. And the movie just it's so unapologetically Mortal Kombat, and it is what it is that it just doesn't. It has no interest in even filling in the gaps there. It's just like, all right, on to the next fight scene. Because this is what I was explaining earlier when there's like 6 scenes in a row, just boom, 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 nonstop.
Yeah, like fight after fight.
Yeah. There was one that I thought was really weak where he fights Kitana.
Oh, yeah. That actually was another disappointing fight. Not much happened, actually.
To win your next match, use the element which brings life.
So it's like the tutorial fight in a video game.
No, you're
telling
totally
him how to win.
Even Shang Tsung was disappointed with this fight. Like, he had to stop it.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about the action scenes that I really like was that you can see everything that's going on. And that's a problem I think a lot of modern films have, where the fight scenes are really up close and shaky, and there's a lot of quick cuts. And here it's nice and zoomed out, and you can see every hit and everything. You get all the good angles, and you don't miss a beat.
They have these guys, like, it kind of creates like an arena, sort of like having them zoomed out, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can tell that the fighters have some space. Honestly, man, overall, I think this movie has aged pretty well, and like it's very relevant. Like, if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, and even if you're not, if you want like a dumb fun movie to watch, I think this movie does a really good job at that. It kept me super entertained.
Yeah, and that's in my closing comments. That's what I was going to ask, if you thought if it holds up, and more importantly, did you have fun watching it? Were you entertained? To me, that is the most important thing. This isn't high art. We're not looking for an Academy Award winning film here, but like, did this movie entertain you? And the bottom line is, well, for me as well, yes, it's very entertaining to me. It's not flawless, has plenty of issues that might be questionable in another film, but this knows what it is. It's a video game movie, you know, and it's a faithful one, and it's a lot of fun. And I think that's fair. Sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and have some fun.
No, totally. I can 100% agree with you on that. I think if anything, the biggest flaws in my opinion would be the pacing. I think they had a lot in here, and I like applaud them for adding what they did, but I do wish that like they were able to develop the characters a little bit more. One thing is like I really would have liked to know a little bit more about Art, just because that was such like a pivotal like scene, I guess, to the characters. Like for them, like that was like a mortifying experience seeing him die. Yeah. So I really wish like we could have got more backstory, but I did like I'm honestly gonna say it, like I loved this movie. I thought it was really fun to watch, and like it is what it is. Like it's Mortal Kombat, and as far as like I haven't seen too many video game movies, but the ones I've seen, I'm not impressed. I think this movie like has the essence of Mortal Kombat, and like it definitely paved the way and like made some like influential decisions for the series.
Absolutely. They really got it down first try. I have the same issues. The pacing, it starts off, the pacing I think is fine, and then it's just like I said multiple times, that it's the fight scenes over and over and over, and they're super cool, but it's like, damn, they could have taken out at least 2 of them maybe, and redirected that time towards, like you said, character development. If not Art, then the main characters or somebody else. Art maybe could have been taken out. He has so little to do. And yeah, I thought I had a lot of fun with this film, and I can overlook a lot of the issues that it has. Again, this is a dumb fun.
I think it's cool. Like now, video games movies are being taken more seriously.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited for the future of Mortal Kombat.
What are your hopes for the new movie? So
for the new movie, I want to see way more blood. I want to see like the gruesome fatalities. Like I want to see someone's spine ripped out of their body, and like jump. Like they're playing. They don't have to play jump rope with it, but like I want to see like some gruesome stuff, man. Like Mortal Kombat, it's the gore. Like that's why it made such a big deal. Like like. I think isn't Mortal Kombat technically the reason why like video game ratings exist?
Yes, it's one of the games that kickstarted the ESRB.
So like I definitely want to see that. I hope that they can like I want them to like add more characters too. I think they had a lot of random people like fighting the main characters, but it would be kind of cool because like based in the game, like you're fighting like known characters in the world. So it would have been kind of cool, like you don't have to explain every character, but it'd be cool to see like characters that you recognize, more characters that you recognize, just because Mortal Kombat's such a big like realm, like a big universe. You don't have to like flesh everyone out, but I want to see more of the characters we know, and hopefully the effects are better.
I'm sure they will be. Yeah, to what you're saying, the very first thing I had on my list as well, where lots of fatalities and blood and gore. This is their chance to do it. And I know it is rated R, and I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but it does look like it's going to be a bloody good time.
Yeah, I did. It looks awesome.
I'm hoping for someone who's going to take it seriously, not necessarily like in tone, like it's Mortal Kombat. It's like it's going to be over the top, and it should be over the top. But someone just, I want to see passion poured into it from everyone involved. That includes the director and the actors and the artists. But from everything that I've seen from the director, he seems to really want to bring everything with him. He seems to be pretty knowledgeable of the games, and hopefully that translates to a good movie. And hopefully it's fun. Hopefully the story is there and strong enough to tie everything together. I don't know how good it could be if it's just a series of fighting vignettes, even though that's what this is. It's really just a bunch of fight scenes kind of tied in together with a very loose plot, which is what the games were. But I guess like that's kind of the hope sometimes from these remakes, sequels, and reboots, is that they learn from what's came before and they do better or try to improve. And even though I think they got it right with this film, I think there's some room for improvements. And yeah.
I completely agree with you. I think like, now's their chance to make the ultimate Mortal Kombat movie. I think this movie, it has the essence of Mortal Kombat. It paved the way for Mortal Kombat. So, they have a strong foundation to work off of. And if anything, I have a lot of high hopes for this movie. I thought this one was really good. So I would be pretty disappointed if the new movie coming out is not as good as this one.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, based off the trailer though, I don't think we're gonna be disappointed. And I'm like really excited to see it.
All right, well, I think that's a wrap. I think we're done here. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thank you, man. I'm happy to be here.
I'd love to do this again in the future. It was a lot of fun talking about this movie. The movie was a lot of fun. It was really silly, but it was a good time.
Oh, no, totally.
Maybe if enough people enjoyed this, we can go back and review the second movie.
Wait, there's a second movie?